Grand Theft Auto 5, the game that feels like it's been around forever. As of the making of this video, it's been 13 years since the game released, and after a couple of re-releases, the next game is finally on the horizon. So I thought this was a great time to finish my GTA series replay and end it off with the most successful GTA game we've ever gotten. So let's talk about Grand Theft Auto 5 and see if it's still worth playing in 2026. In this video, I'll just be covering the story mode because I never was into the online. Regarding the story mode, the gameplay for this is just as it's always been. You're still playing from a third-person perspective, but this time you're able to switch between three main protagonists. This isn't the first time we've been able to play with other characters in GTA games, but most of the time in those situations, it was just equipping a skin onto your character, not being an entirely new character altogether. However, in this game, playing with three characters gave a different dynamic that made this game stand out on its own. Playing as Franklin for a mission, then switching to Michael for a bit, and then to Trevor always gave you the freedom to play with who you like the most. For the majority of the game, you were never stuck playing as just one character. In the beginning, when things are just getting started, you kind of are, but as the game goes on, the ability to switch is almost always there. Now, even though the characters are different, I thought there wasn't quite enough variance in how they played when you pit them against each other. Similar to other GTAs, the stat system returns with you having a various number of stats like stamina, driving skill, shooting skill, etc. These stats vary depending on which character you're using. I liked how if you're playing with Trevor, he has a better flying skill versus when you're using Franklin. This same concept applies across the board. It makes you have to think before deciding to do anything. If you want to commit a certain crime, it might be easier to pull it off when you use one of the characters over the other due to them having higher stats in a desired area. Even still, that's about as far as it goes with how different they play. You still run around and shoot and kill everything. The way they drive, take cover, shoot their guns, and other things are pretty much the same. I thought it would have been really cool if they went granular with the details and made their mannerisms and movements differ between each character. Not a huge deal, but just something I noticed. At its core though, this game is still just as fun as the others. Running around in a giant sandbox city, being able to do anything you want really never gets old. There's a bunch of different things to do when not going through the story missions too. You can play sports like tennis, with various difficulties being available if you get really good. You could do triathlons and race against other people, performing various movements like swimming, running, and biking to win first place. But if you're looking for more of a mission-like side activity, then you can do the strangers and freaks for each character. These strangers and freaks are a great way to break up the story and have the characters experience different things as they go through their time in San Andreas. The interactions our trio of characters go through makes things interesting because you truly never know what's going to happen when encountering one of these. A small thing worth mentioning is the icon of these missions, as even though it's just a question mark, it being a question mark makes you want to go check it out. It makes you wonder like, what the hell is this? What could be over here? Let me go see. What really impressed me was the amount of customizable options you had available when you entered the paint and spray. Having played the older GTA games, you went from just adding a different color to your car to being able to customize the whole damn thing. Once you pulled up to Los Santos Customs, it's like you started watching an episode of Pimp My Ride. After upgrading your car, I actually felt some incentive to not crash it or mess it up. Pouring all that money into your car and then immediately destroying it was not an option this time around. Regarding the actual missions, I really enjoyed my time with these. I think the biggest challenge with making a GTA game is that the formula at its core is really basic. You enter a place, watch a cutscene, and then play through a mission. Rinse and repeat till you beat the game. So because of this system, you need to make sure your missions are entertaining and fun, and GTA 5 is definitely both. One of my problems with the previous GTA games is that some of the missions felt like filler, or they were really basic. Like it would involve you doing the most simplest of things. Things so simple that it made me wonder why this was even thought of in the first place. In my opinion, I thought this was never the case with GTA 5. Not every mission is the greatest thing ever, but all of them are fun to go through for various reasons. I was never bored or hated any of the missions, except the mission where you're using the crane as Trevor, because that mission was ass. But for the most part, the missions definitely held my attention and never had me wanting some sort of shakeup because it was always fun. I do think that if you played a Rockstar game before, then you may still hate the way you move in the controller layout. A lot of the button commands were still similar to the old titles, and the fluidity of the characters is still an issue. Rockstar's movement has always been a bit stiff and clunky, so if you didn't like that from the other games, then you're not going to like it in this. For me, it doesn't bother me as much, but I can't make a review without bringing this up. One thing worth mentioning is that for the PC version, which is what I played, you're able to upload custom music to the radio, which actually enhances the overall experience. It's not to say that the music for GTA 5 is bad, but these songs have been out for at least 13 years, so it's been a minute. Then on top of that, some of the songs are way older than that, so uploading the up-to-date songs from my phone helped to create an even more immersive experience. If you played the GTA games before, then you know how this gameplay is. The skeleton from the older games is there, and this one enhances everything more than ever before. Even if you're a newcomer, I don't see why anybody would hate playing this game because of the gameplay. It's still just fun. Moving on to the story, I thought this was pretty good, but not great. Coming off of GTA 4, which I still think is by far the best story in the series, you start out years later after a heist gone wrong as Michael is forced back into the life after making some mistakes, and Trevor reappearing, and then Michael just trying to make some money to change his situation. I think the best thing about this story is the dynamic between the three characters. Each one of them have different personalities, and that can be easily seen within each cutscene. During just one of the scenes, you'll see Michael explaining the situation, Franklin trying to speak reason to the group, and Trevor just yelling. It's hilarious. Personally, I thought the funniest scenes was everything going on with Michael's family. Seeing the stuff he goes through with his kids was actually cinema. Whether it's his son being a complete dumbass making stupid decisions, his daughter doing everything possible to make herself a fool online, or his wife sleeping around with all her instructors, Michael's situation was just too funny. I think the biggest difference between 4 and 5's story is the tone. The tone and setting in 4 is very dark and gritty, where in 5 it's very bright and kind of full of sunshine, if that makes sense. Yes, crime is still being committed and people are getting dropped throughout the entire story, but it just feels different. If you're more of a fan of the grimy and dark stories like me, then this may not resonate as much with you. Regardless, this story still sets out to do what it's supposed to. It takes you back to San Andreas and tells a solid story surrounding 3 very different characters who work together to achieve a common goal. Even with that in mind, the consequences to their decisions are always apparent and at the forefront of the game. If you enjoyed any of the other stories for GTA, then I'm sure you'll enjoy this one. Whether it's your favorite or not, that's unique to the individual, but if you're going to go through this for the first time, then I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I wanted to talk about the graphics briefly, because playing the enhanced version on PC was a treat. Considering this game originally came out on PS3, it's seen some visual upgrades after all these years. Going around Los Santos and visiting the beaches, deserts, and other locations never looked dull for a second. Now maybe because I was on PC, but seeing the water reflections on the ground and the wall textures made everything look great. Playing at 120 FPS made the graphics a bit crispier too, as the character model's movements were buttery smooth. It's not to say that this game didn't look good on PS3 and PS4. When this game first came out, the graphics were still top notch. It's just the fact that it's been 13 years, so they're only going to improve so much. But where I was impressed was just the amount of polish this game had. This very well could be due to the place I was playing it on, but man, the game looked good. I think if you're playing on PS5 or Series X, then you should have a similar experience, as those consoles should be able to run this game easily. So after looking at the gameplay, story, and graphics, should you play Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2026? I would say, give me a hell yeah! This game is really fun and is a solid installment in the GTA franchise. Sure, I think it's missing a couple things, but in its entirety, the game is just fun, like many of the other ones. With GTA 6 on the horizon, if you haven't played this before, then now is the perfect time. You could easily finish this with plenty of time to spare before GTA 6, so that game feels fresh when you go to play it this fall. Hopefully that game raises the bar and sets a new precedent for this series going forward. If you played this, what did you think about Grand Theft Auto 5? What would you rank as your favorite GTA of all time? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to watch one of my other reviews right here.